When I was 30, I lost my parents in an accident. I was single at the time, but my brother was married and had kids already. My father had quite a lot of savings. My brother and I also received a significant compensation payout from the accident. I split the insurance payout with my brother and bought out my brother's share of the condo our parents left. My parents had just bought their new home not long before they passed away, but my brother didn't want the condo, so I decided to take it over. Because of the accident, we received an extra payout from my parents' life insurance policy. My brother and I also divided that money equally. In total, my brother got a couple $100,000. Because my brother received about the same amount as his lifetime wages, his wife suggested that he quit his job. Of course, even though he had enough money on hand, the money would run out eventually. But from what I heard from my brother, his company didn't pay overtime wages, and he felt underpaid for the amount of work he had to do. Now, he had received enough money to support his family for a while, so I thought maybe quitting and looking for a better job was a fitting choice for him. I was sure he'd find a better job later on and wouldn't stay unemployed forever. My brother would be able to buy a house once he started another full-time job, and everything would work out fine if they didn't overspend. Later, I met a good man and started dating him. Eventually, we decided to get married. Instead of a wedding ceremony, we had a small dinner party with my in-laws after we got married at the city hall. Even though my husband had never met my parents, he held them in high regard. He's a very kind-hearted person, and he always goes with me to visit my parents' graves. My in-laws are also kind and similar in character to my husband. They all have a special place in my heart. At the time, my husband got a work transfer. When he was still pondering whether to relocate by himself or ask me to go with him, I had already made the decision to move with him. I had kept the condo my parents left because real estate prices were dropping, but a realtor told me, property price is growing in the coastal area, so now is a good time to sell. I didn't have high expectations, but the condo was sold immediately. Even though it was an old condo, it was in excellent condition, so we sold it for a price close to when the building was built. Of course, my husband knew I had inherited money from my parents, but he didn't ask for anything because he was never into material things. He said,
"You should hold on to the money your parents left you. They'd be more pleased if you spent that money on our future baby. I'll do my best to earn more money too."
I've also never been interested in fashion or designer brands, so I saved that money for my child. My husband's work transfer was only 1 to 2 years long, but I really enjoyed the slow-paced life in the countryside. Life in the countryside was not as convenient as in big cities, and there weren't any trendy shops. But all the neighbors were lovely and always shared their vegetables and fruits they have harvested in their fields. I started to work 3 days a week because I wanted to know more people. My husband and I cherished each other and always spent time together when we were not working. My neighbor also taught me how to fish and grow my own vegetables. Whenever I caught fish, we would invite the neighbors over to have a small get-together. While I was living in the countryside with my husband, my sister-in-law became a celebrity in the coastal area. They bought a house and always invited a lot of friends over. My brother got a job at an exotic car dealership, so he also bought one of the cars for themselves. They sent their 2 children to private middle schools as well. I didn't know if my brother was doing well at his dealership job. The only thing I could be sure of was their lavish lifestyle, but of course, it was their choice and I didn't have a say in it. A year later, an earthquake struck the coastal area, and my brother's house was affected by soil liquefaction. It'll cost more than $100,000 to fix the house. Because of their lifestyle, my brother couldn't afford the repair. So, my sister-in-law called me to ask if I could let them stay at my parents' condo. I felt sorry for their situation and was so glad everyone was safe. But when I got married, my sister-in-law said to me with a sneer,
"At your age, whoever marries you must be very eccentric."
I'll never forget the way she made fun of me.
"You won't look good in a wedding dress because of your age. Since you won't even have a wedding, I guess you wouldn't mind if I don't get you a gift, right?"
My sister-in-law didn't give me any wedding gifts. She didn't even congratulate me on my marriage. My brother remained silent the whole time and didn't even try to stop her. It was true that I married late, but I only met my husband because I waited patiently. I was infuriated by how she treated me, so I stopped talking to her since then. When I got a call from my sister-in-law, I said, "I am sorry for you guys, but you can repair your titled house or figure something out. I can't help you with anything."
Your brother's family just survived an earthquake and that's all you've got to say?
Yes, my brother and I each inherited half of our parents' property, so you can't blame me for anything. You guys made a decision to live an extravagant life, right? I turned her down and hung up the phone. Later, the realtor who helped me sell the condo called me. Apparently, my sister-in-law went inside that building, so the building manager called the police. She was yelling,
"That unit belongs to my relative. I have the right to enter and live here. Let me in."
She made a scene and tried to enter the unit, so the police officer apprehended her. At the time, the new owners of the condo have already been living in there. The police officer didn't go easy on my sister-in-law. It almost felt like she went there to get caught. My sister-in-law received a strict warning from the police. She called me right after she got out of the precinct.
Hey, what the hell happened to that condo?
Why do you ask? Does it have anything to do with you?
I told you last time that we don't have a place to stay. We need that place.
I can't let you live there.
What is the matter with you? Your brother's family is in trouble.
I wish I could help, but I can't. I sold that condo before we moved to the countryside.
Why didn't we know that? How could you sell it without consulting with your family first?
Of course you didn't know. I never told you. Besides, it's my condo. Why would I consult with anyone before making a decision?
We were going to live there, but you ruined our plan. You can send us the money instead then. You have the money from selling the condo, right?
Huh? That's not gonna happen. I'm pregnant and not working now. My husband and I need to save more money for our child. I'll keep the inheritance for my children.
You can start working again after you give birth. We're your family and we're desperate here.
You keep saying family, but you mocked me, insulted me, and never even congratulated me when I got married. Why would I help you out now? I don't have to. I don't want to.
What? Are you for real? This is so unfair. Share the condo money with us.
I was astonished by what she asked of me, after wasting their own money away. My sister-in-law kept yelling at me over the phone, so I ended the call. My brother and his wife don't know where I live in the countryside, so I'm not worried they'll come knocking at my door. I ignored all her phone calls after that. Even though their house is tilted, it isn't so damaged that they can't live in it. Later, I found out they had spent way more than they had. Because of their financial problems and the earthquake, they couldn't pay off their debts and had their house repossessed. The exotic car dealership my brother worked at also went out of business. My brother lost his source of income, and his family ended up moving to subsidized housing. They faced so many difficulties after the earthquake and struggled to pay their children's tuition. However, although I sympathized with them, I didn't feel like helping them. If my sister-in-law's attitude were a little different, my husband and I would have done things differently. I also blame my brother for being too weak and obedient to his wife. My sister-in-law made fun of me as much as she wanted, but demanded my help when she was in distressing circumstances. It was all too convenient for her. I understand how hard their life is now, but it's a result of my brother's terrible life choices. I decided to give up on him and let him be.
How was today's video? If you enjoyed it, please subscribe, like, and leave a comment. Stay tuned for more.